Welcome back to Yahoo Finance Live. Investment platform Public.com is expanding its portfolio options by introducing alternative assets. Members can now invest in items including contemporary art, high-end trading cards, luxury items, vintage comics, and more. Joining us to discuss is Public.com COO Stephen Sikes. Stephen, it's always good to have you on the show. Why don't you start with a top-down view, though, right now, just given the market action that we have seen over the last several days. What are you seeing in your platform in terms of those who are staying the course and those who are saying maybe equities is not the place to be right now?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I think for your viewers' benefit, quickly just telling you who Public is. So we're an investment platform focused on helping people become better investors. And one of the ways that we're doing that is by helping create a platform that allows our members to access a broad variety of assets, right? And achieve real diversification and ideally uncorrelated diversification, particularly in moments like this, since that's what we're here to talk about today. And so back to your question, hey, how are our members reacting? And the truth is, we see many of our members and most of our members even staying the course, right? It certainly has been a turbulent time in the markets over the last 6 months or so. And last time we were here to talk to you, I think we talked about how we were continuing to see increasing flows and buy versus sell volume. And I think what we're seeing is our members continue to sort of take the responsible approach of averaging into broader diversified equities portfolios. We certainly have seen an increase in in purchases of ETFs and fixed income ETFs and achieving a little bit more portfolio diversification. But we're hoping to see that trend continue as we launch into the new asset classes we're here to talk about today.
So let's talk about those new asset classes. As we mentioned, there's luxury items, there's trading cards, there's vintage comics. This is kind of an area where we saw a huge boom, especially during the pandemic. Why jump in now?
Yeah, I think this is just the first step, and these cultural assets are the first step in our move to broaden sort of consumer and our members' access to alternatives of all varieties, right? So certainly the cultural assets are where we're starting, and we think that there's a strong case for many of these assets from an investment perspective being uncorrelated with the equity markets over time. But like I said, just the first step. We expect to continue to expand our portfolio of alternatives to include things like real estate and venture capital access and private equity access over time.
So how much of this was driven by demand, within the platform? I'd imagine, going back to your earlier point, sure, people are diversifying, they're getting into ETFs, but there's also a lot of concern about just where the market is headed. These alternatives in many ways kind of offer, a good option, but I wonder what that return looks like.
Yeah, again, our view is that these sort of super rare, what we call grails in the industry, these grail type cultural assets tend to have a really uncorrelated return profile relative to sort of the U.S. equities market. Again, and a lot of that's because the value of these assets is intrinsic to sort of their cultural value and their scarcity. And so our hope is that over time, they'll continue to deliver sort of those uncorrelated returns that they've been shown to in the past.
And obviously, this is all on the Public.com platform. So while investors maybe had to search around before, you can all do that on the platform now. When you think about the overall model and the way in which Public.com has grown, to what extent do you think these alternative assets could really offer a significant growth trajectory? And how much of it you think is still going to be traditional investing? I mean, when you think about the 5-year, 10-year timeline, where does this fit in?
Yeah, I think our role as running a platform is first and foremost to build a trusted brand and trusted relationship with our members, right? And so we spent a lot of time making business and product decisions that really help build that trust and build ultimate member context into how and what decisions we're making as a business and how and what they're investing in. The second thing after that is continuing to build the breadth of assets and asset classes available to our members. So this is, again, the first step in that direction for us outside of, the broad U.S. equities and crypto markets that we offer today. And so I think over time, our hope is that our members build sort of the modern portfolios that they've told us that they really want. And those include, again, things like U.S. equities, international equities, fixed income, alternative assets like these cultural assets and cryptocurrencies as well. And so, again, we think all of those individual asset classes can play a role in a responsible long-term investing portfolio. And we hope to partner with our members in building out the platform that helps them get that access over time.
Stephen, I realize this is just the launch week, but I'm curious if you have seen anything in these alternative assets that's kind of caught your attention that says, well, I didn't realize there was such a demand for that. It's a pretty diverse list when you think about everything from vintage comics to luxury items.
Yeah, one of the things we're really excited about is, and it's not something that we're putting on the platform today, but we're doing a lot of work in sort of the intellectual property and royalties space, right? As we've gotten deep in that space, we've realized that there are great opportunities to find really great cash flowing after tax returns, cash flowing assets that deliver awesome after tax returns through a specific partnership structure. And so those sorts of products are things that we're working on, and we think that over time, those will be great investable assets for our members.
Yeah, we'd love to have you back on to see, where this sector goes or where this space goes. Stephen Sikes, public.com COO. Appreciate your time today. We are keeping an eye on the House